Hello and welcome to Esther's Gardening Adventures. I'm Esther, and as part of Radish Week and as part of my broader goal to find creative ways to eat and use what I'm harvesting from my garden, I am going to be making lime cilantro pickled radishes, refrigerator radishes, which means you don't have to let them ferment for a long time before you can use them. And I'm so excited to try this recipe, guys. Now, warning, it's my first time trying it, and so I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I love lime, I love cilantro, I love radishes. I think it'll be successful. I can't imagine how it would fail. And then later this week, I'm going to use those radishes for a topping in a recipe. I haven't decided yet what. I'm thinking maybe tacos, maybe something else. I might have to taste them first to get an idea of what I would like to have them in best. But let's get into the kitchen and get going on this. Oh, I'm going to have the ingredients at the beginning, but I'll also have them in the show notes in case you don't get a screenshot of it fast enough. So definitely check out the show notes for that, as well as links to the ball book recipe I got this from, and some of the other materials I use, or I'm thinking I'm going to use potentially in making this. All right, let's get going. So it's time to start packing the jar. I've got a hot jar here. The directions say to pack radish slices, onions, and cilantro into hot jar. So let's make that happen. I'm going to do it in layers. I just remembered I have this thing for packing down. This is mason tops. I'm trying to pack it down as much as I can. Now, does it give directions on how high to do it? It doesn't say how high to pack it, so I'm assuming I want to pack it pretty close to the top. Let's see if we can get a few more in here. Some pretty ones too. A couple more slices of onion. And the cilantro is already in there, but I'll put a couple of the sprigs in there. Ooh, there's a leaf. Woohoo! All right, I have it to boiling. Let's pour that wonderful juice mixture down in here. Well, I was hoping the juice mixture would be all the way up to the top, but it isn't. So I'm gonna keep it as it is. I'm going to try packing it down. Okay, there's enough juice to go around. Once it cooks, once everything breaks down a little more, I think we'll be okay. This is going in the refrigerator anyway. The recipe says that now I need to leave this on the counter to cool completely and then put it in the fridge. And it'll last up to 3 months. And I plan on using this on top of tacos, and I certainly will share photos of that when I get to that stage. Oh, guys, I'm so excited. So excited about having this. Guys, I have to confess, last night I opened up the jar and I ate some. It's been 4 days. And it tasted just like a Thai recipe that I love, which I'll put the name of up here when I look it up, but it's this dish that you get as a side that has ground chicken and lime and cilantro and red onions, and I'm gonna try making that with pork. And instead of having, and I'm going to go out also as part of using the garden theme, right? I'm also going to go out into my yard and I'm going to harvest some of my romaine lettuce leaves and use those to sandwich all of it together. So I'm so excited for this lunch break, you guys. So excited. Alright guys, I'm gonna make this now. This is the larb moo, which is known as larb guy when it's chicken, but for pork it's known as larb moo, which is kind of funny. But I've got all my ingredients over here, plus some behind me. Garlic's behind me. Alright, let's get cooking. Medium heat. I'm just gonna use a little bit of the peanut oil. I bought this thing for a Indian dish once, and I'm trying to use up the oil before it all goes bad. Okay, turn it down to medium. Do the garlic first, it says. Now, the recipe calls for 4 cloves, and I can tell you for a half a pound of meat, there's no way I'm doing 4 cloves. Well, it says cook until brown. Then we're gonna add a little bit of the sugar. My 1 teaspoon-ish of sugar. Stir for a few seconds. Boy, this thing makes a lot of noise. This pan, I never noticed till I started using it for a video. And I think I add the fish sauce next, which is also 1 teaspoon. Doesn't have to be too precise. And now I put in the pork. I think I was supposed to put the fish sauce last because it's getting me. Now, you can just put it all in here and then break it up. But I like to kind of break it up a little before I put it in the pan. Then, of course, I drop some on the side of the stove. 5-second rule, right? And we want these into little pieces because this is going to be eaten in a salad leaf and it needs to be kind of be able to clump together. Now this is meat I got from the farmer's market. There's a farmer who we can buy meat from during the winter. She'll bring it to the neighborhood. She lets us know a week in advance so we can order online. She has a little portal online that we order stuff from, and then we go pick it up at the baseball field nearby. The regular farmer's market is about to start up in a week or 2, but we have a freezer chest that we bought when the pandemic started to be able to store additional meat, and we try to keep, a good amount of meat in there, as well as vegetables and other things, as well as stuff that I've frozen like tomatoes or peaches or beans or things like that. Turn the heat up a little bit here. But I will say that My husband, first of all, is the one who loves meat. I love it, but he especially is a meat eater. You know, he grew up in a family that meat was in every meal almost, he said. Although I think that does not include cereal for breakfast. But all lunches and dinners had some kind of meat in it. And so I try to incorporate meat at least, you know, every few nights into the meals. But the good news is, because the farmer's market meat is so high quality and also quite expensive in comparison to stuff you can buy at like Aldi's or the regular grocery store, we tend to treasure it a little bit more. We tend to use it a little more frugally. Now that's not always the case, but I like to add vegetables to the meat when I'm cooking it in a pan, or have a lot of sides to kind of help balance it out. All right, it looks like the pink is almost done here. I need to turn off the phone to check the recipe, guys. So, I need to stop the video to check the recipe, guys. So I'm gonna do that now while this finishes up the last couple seconds here. So one thing I'm noting here is it does say to reheat the pork and then to turn off the heat and put the onions in. But I have to tell you guys, I prefer onions to be a tiny bit cooked, and yes, I have them raw from the Thai restaurant, so I'm aware of that, but I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds before I turn off. Give it maybe 30 seconds before I turn off the heat on this. And it says to toss in the mint and basil, and yes, I'm using dried basil that's Thai basil that I've had hanging by my door all winter. But I have honestly found that while it's really great and important to have fresh Thai basil, I can make it work if I need to. So hopefully there'll be enough moisture in this to carry me over. All right, guys, so I have it all together. I went ahead and put the sauce in the mixture, as well as the powdered, you can kind of see the white flakes there, the toasted rice that I semi-ground. And then here's the whole point of this video, the pickled radishes. And yes, last night I opened them up to taste them and I kind of ate half of them. But I don't feel bad because my husband isn't a fan of them because they taste too much like onions. So I don't feel too bad. And then also I have, continuing the theme of using things from the garden, I don't have the big lettuces that are these big wraps, but I do have these romaine lettuce leaves from my garden that I harvested. So I'm going to take this one, which looks really good. Let me get some of the radishes out. So I'll put this back over here for a moment. Look at that, guys. Isn't that beautiful? Stunning. Oh, I can't wait. And I already know how they taste, so I can't wait to see how they marry with this dish. It's gonna be good. Take this leaf. I'm just gonna use my hands. I'll use a fork. Make sure I get one of those mint leaves in there. And guys, I'm going to put a couple of radishes on top. Maybe one of the pickled onions. I'm going to fold it over, although it kind of popped over. But here I go. Got that crunch. Wow, it marries so well. You've got that crunch from the radish and from the roasted rice. That tanginess and kind of the spiciness of the radish. Now, I didn't make the radishes spicy, and I didn't add Thai chilies to this dish because I didn't have them, to be honest. Otherwise, I probably would have. But honestly, it tastes fine without the spice. And yeah, if you're going to try this pickling recipe, I definitely recommend trying it with this larb moo. Yeah, Now I'm gonna eat the rest. Ooh. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. If you aren't already a subscriber, please consider doing so. And stay tuned for more. I have at least one more, possibly two under my belt. We shall see. So stick around. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already. And make sure you hit that bell button if you want to be sure to be alerted when I post new content. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.